I'm Travis Wayne Goodsell, and you are most likely, according to YouTube analytics, are coming to this video for the first time of any of my other videos. And you did it through browsing. I am the greatest threat to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So got that right out of the way. Now you can leave. You've got your answer, and I didn't string you along until the very end of my video where I reveal it to you. The majority of my videos have information all the way to the end. When I run out of information, that's when I shut the video off. And so yes, I know they're long, and yes, I know you're bored, you don't like listening to me, and my tone is putting you to sleep. But if you aren't interested in knowing why I'm the greatest threat to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, okay, whatever. You'll never know that I defeated the church in a lawsuit, except for the judge was fired, and she never gave a final order before her last day on the bench. So it's still sitting there in the courts, just sitting there. The church lawyers had no argument against my complaint, and so I won. And so if coronavirus ever goes away, and it's not expected to, because Trump is purposely extending it for as long as he can milk it. But people are finding out that as his staff are all getting coronavirus around him and he is not getting coronavirus, it's going to be exposed that he has the vaccine. So he's not going to last too much longer in that regard. Before people hopefully will finally get out of their apathy and revolt. But you guys are aware that the church has excommunicated perceived threats to them, right? The September 6th, John Dehlin, Jeremy Russin, I keep messing up his last name, the CES letter guy, the ordained women leader. And so the church has always exerted their bullying pulpit to excommunicate threats to the church as they perceive them. People who are just standing up to the church who are bullies. And yet you haven't heard of me. You can see from other LDS critics that they're getting upwards of tens and hundreds of thousands of views for their criticism of the Mormon Church. And because they're getting that many, everybody keeps going to them. They must have something that's everybody's wanting to see. And so you trust them for truth about their criticism of the LDS Church. And so you miss my videos, as I'm lucky to get 20. And so why is it that the church is not letting you know that I'm their greatest threat? I'm sure you've seen the leaked apostle meeting slide presentation that contain the little bubbles, left wing, center, and right wing of threats to the church. And I'm not listed on there. John Dehlin is. Denver Snuffer is. But not me. The reason why, and the reason why they haven't even excommunicated me, They've instead tried to keep me a secret from you. In 2008, when I sued, I filed a grievance with the government of Utah and against the church back in 2008. And they reversed it to claim it was a weapon of mass destruction. My lawsuit was a weapon of mass destruction, they said. And so they accused me of being a terrorist. Yep. That's how they treated me. And you never heard of that because they sealed the records. The church ordered the Deseret News to delete all my comments on their online articles. You can know because there were 2 article comments that mentioned me as in their replies. The one had to do with a woman who was arguing that President Benson did command in April 1986 or October. I'm pretty sure it was April, because it was the same one where he talked to the Aaronic priesthood, the youth of the noble birthright, and told the men that not to watch R-rated movies. And the sentence kept going. And so I was trying to point that out in my comment, but the Mormon woman decided to say, no, there was a period there, it was a commandment, all R-rated movies are therefore forbidden. And so I tried to counter-reply. The Deseret News refused that comment. So I only got the one comment in, which they allowed the reply to that comment, showing her ignorance, grammatical ignorance. And the other one was concerning the Big Bang Theory. It had been commonly understood back then that it was Hubble who came up with the Big Bang Theory. I, however, knew better and pointed out that it was the Frenchman, the French Catholic priest, who had developed the Big Bang Theory to support the Catholic Christian interpretation of the Bible in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, to try to merge science and religion to make it harmonious. So I got a quick reply from another ignorant person who said, it was Hubble, that's why they named the Hubble telescope after Hubble. So, yeah, both of those people look dumb, especially the Hubble guy, because now when you Google search who came up with the Big Bang Theory, it's the Frenchman, the French Catholic priest, who pops up immediately now, because everybody now knows that's who it was. And so I obviously have not heard back from that Mormon, and the Deseret News took out my comment. And so, but yeah, there was a sweeping attempt to erase me from history, to erase me from existence. I was supposed to be disappeared forever, away from society, away from the world. Unfortunately, as you can see, for them, I got out, and as a result, they're now in the process of threatening my life. I've gotten several death threats, even on Friday the 13th. as you are aware, October Friday the 13th was when the Knights Templar were attacked by the Pope at that time and the king who assisted. But that has to do with LDS church history. Prior to my doing research on LDS church history to know exactly why they're doing what they're doing to me, the reason why they perceived me as a threat was that they had a troublemaker file on me. Ever since I got to Utah and came to them and said, hey, I deciphered Paleo-Hebrew, Joseph Smith is a translator, a legitimate translator. I had no idea that that was not the church's policy. The gospel topic essays claiming the official doctrine of the church, or the official position of the church, is that Joseph Smith is not a translator, which is why they never declare any of the presidents of the church in general conferences as a translator. Go back and listen. Not a single one of them are ever given the title of translator. They do not have the priesthood key of translator. It's gone. And here I am saying, yeah, Joseph Smith is a translator. Is there any other documents that Joseph Smith wrote about talking about ancient languages? So I was declared a troublemaker for supporting and defending the founder, as they call it in this church, of the organization. And that's why I'm the greatest threat to the church. I am proof that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is a fraud. And I didn't know it until I went and finally did church history research, and when they had me disappeared, that was a pretty good indicator too. But in that particular case, it could have just been retaliation for filing a lawsuit. But when I got the evidence that the church had been paying the person that had me disappeared officially, that was clear. And that was put in the lawsuit, actually. Yeah, you can't pay people to commit crimes, because that implicates you in the crime. And like I said, I won that lawsuit. It's their own evidence against them. And so, yeah, it just needs a judge's order. But she no longer works on the bench, so she's no longer in charge of our case. And I'm pretty sure Mormon boy Clark Waddups is not going to reassign it anytime soon. But who knows? Maybe he will, and maybe he will demand that I do give a reply to their motion to dismiss, rather than the one that I had given because I had not received one. They were 24 days late. Just unbelievable. So yeah, I already had a response to a potential motion to dismiss. It's just they never sent it, and so I sent mine, and so then all of a sudden, oh, here it is. Here's their motion to dismiss. What do you know? 24 days late. And so, yeah, they can't win. They're in default automatically, which is an automatic loss. But like I said, Judge Waddups can cheat and try to do all he can to protect and defend the church. But the reason why all these other LDS critics are not really considered a threat by the church, even though they're getting large groups that follow them. That's why they excommunicated the ordained women leader, is because she had a huge following. She was taking away a good chunk of the women of the church, as well as the men. And the women were actively protesting by wearing slacks. Oh, heaven forbid. And so, yeah, good for them. Yeah, it just showed the further abuse of the church for excommunicating her, as the church afterward decided to allow missionaries, sister missionaries, to wear slacks and people to wear slacks at church. And they changed other things, like the temple. Eve has a bigger speaking role, except you got to pay attention to the law of chastity. They are setting up polygamy again, women. So, yeah, maybe some of you might think, oh, that would be great. But not when you don't get to choose your mate. When you are forced to go with an old, perverted man claiming to speak for God. Just like the FLDS Church did with Warren Jeffs. He kicked out the young men so that the young women would then be able to marry into the harems of the old priesthood leadership. And so that's what the church is preparing to do. They took away the high priest group. And so only those who become church leaders of bishop, stake president, become high priests. And so all the elders no longer qualify for exaltation in the Mormon theology. You have to be a high priest. Section 76 makes that very clear. A high priest. It says priest after the order of Melchizedek. High priest. Because priest after the order of Aaronic priesthood is obviously not sufficient. Because it's the high priest that gets to enter into the Holy of Holies, which represents the presence of God. Exaltation. And an elder just don't cut it. And you can say, oh, well, I'm working towards that, as Mormons like to apologize for the religion, to try to justify and change the religion themselves, to give themselves a false sense of hope. Yeah, when you have the system set up where the church comes out and says, okay, we have a shortage of men from the survival war for food, and though we already have wives ourselves, it is now necessary that we restart polygamy for exaltation. And so all unwedded women will be reassigned to those of us who are high priests. And elders, you just got to keep working hard, and maybe one day you too can become a high priest, and then you can qualify to be married. It's all on you and your worthiness. And so even though the elders will have a crush on a particular girl, sorry, she's got to go have sex with some old pervert. You don't get her. And that's what Brigham Young did, if you didn't know. That's why he created brothels in Utah. Orrin Porter Rockwell had the first brothel at the point of the mountain, and then eventually Brigham Young was bored with all his wives as he was getting too many divorces maybe, and so he had one built on Regent Street, which was called Commerce Avenue, and he frequented that one because he didn't have to worry about her divorcing him or the woman divorcing him. So it's not likely we will have brothels, but if they allow polygamy for the Mormon Church, why not? So maybe you'll get your jollies off that way, but just understand you're going to get sexual transmitted diseases. They're not going to do too much in protecting you. So that's why I do my warnings on my YouTube channel. But just understand that critics, they may be popular, but they're not a threat to the church, as I did the other video about this. Critics trust too much in hearsay. Somebody says something in a journal, somebody tells them, somebody publishes a book about the years ago experience, and critics just trust them because it's anti-Mormon. It's critical of the Mormon Church. Great, we got them. No, you don't. It's just somebody's hearsay. And even if the church says, oh yeah, Joseph, yeah, he was a polygamist. Sure enough. Yeah, it was him. Stay away from Brigham Young. It was all Joseph. That's why we do it. That's why the government United States government allowed us to keep Section 132 in the Doctrine and Covenants, is because we attribute it to Joseph Smith. If you're unfamiliar, the Book of Mormon says no polygamy 3 times. Joseph's Doctrine and Covenants said no to polygamy 2 times. One of them was a chapter, dedicated solely to monogamy. The other one, he was talking to a monogamous couple and saying, the sealing in the temple for you and your wife will grant you exaltation. Monogamy. But then Brigham Young didn't like that, cut out that portion of Section 131, and got rid of the chapter on monogamy, and put in Section 132, where Joseph Smith is now an abusive husband, threatening to murder Emma if she didn't allow him to have extra wives. So then David Whitmer hears about it and goes, oh yeah, I remember he had a 14-year-old maid, and I was sure there was something going on there. She never got pregnant though. I wonder how that happened. She must have taken birth control pills, because they were invented back then, weren't they? And so, yeah, lots of hearsay that critics just flock to. And I try to keep telling them, don't do that. There's plenty of evidence that convicts Brigham Young's church. But people want to go after Joseph Smith because the Brighamite church says he started it. Just go after Brigham Young. That's all you have to do. Tear him to shreds, and the church cannot stand. Brigham Young is the initial seed that produced the current corrupt fruit. Destroy the seed, you destroy the current church. That's what I've done by showing that Joseph Smith was a translator, and Brigham Young did never claim to be a translator. And so my coming out and discovering, hey, Joseph is a legitimate translator, the church was instantly destroyed, and I was instantly recognized and perceived as a threat to them because I had destroyed their seed in Brigham Young. So don't worry about Joseph looking into a hat with rocks. You know, it's fun, but there's more to that story that the current church is not telling us because they didn't know. So if you really want to know, go to my playlists on the real LDS church history and the Book of Mormon code. Those will help you in that direction. But understand, I am the greatest threat to the church. As I have defeated them, my request for relief in my lawsuit is everything. And it's technically called a sum certain. So when they defaulted on turning in their reply, and which became their motion to dismiss 24 days late, they were in default. But they didn't put that on the docket, you will notice. But it was sent to them according to the rules and processes during coronavirus. They just chose not to put it in the docket. But it's there, and you can even see with the dating of when they filed. They claim to have filed on the 10th, but then filed the certificate of service on the 23rd. So they are caught in the docket. That's obvious. But, like I said, these are not usual times. So, alrighty. That's it. Just please criticize the church, but because you guys are getting so many followers, people are trusting whatever you say, and you're just hearsay information. You are not primary source information. And so people are perpetuating that hearsay. Oh, I heard that the church was blah 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 because of your videos. And so it's great that you're making people aware of the corruption of the church, but please make sure your information is not hearsay as well, because they're going to follow you as their hearsay source information. I don't know of too many people that fact check. So, please, I mean, Wikipedia has policies and procedures set in place that you can't just reference hearsay information. You have to have primary source documentation. And yet when it comes to the church's articles, it's like Wikipedia just said, whatever you guys want. And so you'll look at the footnotes in the various articles, and you'll see a book by some author who may still be alive. And that's not how you reference. You know, the author should be putting in their book the primary source information from which Wikipedia is claiming that that was church history. Why aren't we referencing that primary source from that author? It's because the church will not allow it. Or the author didn't do it. They just got it from hearsay. Many Mormon authors who are critical of the church love to quote other authors, like Fawn Brody. That's not how you do research. Not how you do historical research. So, please understand, nobody's coming to my channel, even though I'm the greatest threat, but they are coming to yours as you have become popular. People are looking to you for truth, and they're assuming you're giving it. So please stop what you're doing and do it right. I applaud It's Me Jessie. Her name is Jessie, but that's the channel name. Because what she did for her channel, and has become somewhat popular, is that the missionaries came to her, and so she decided to do research on the church. And so she did videos based upon her research. That's perfectly fine, as long as she keeps it that way. But again, you can see that she still trusts hearsay. And I have been trying to help her, but she doesn't want to listen to me, because when she asked me if I am now Christian or what I believe in, I didn't give her the answer she wanted. So she no longer communicates with me. But understand, you guys are the ones who they listen to, that people listen to. So just do it right. If you don't know how to do it right, come to me. Come to my channel. Watch my videos. See how I do it. I even give videos on how I do it. I use Mormon scriptures against Mormons. I don't use Christians, the Bible, with the Christian interpretation. I use Mormon scriptures against Mormons. So, and there are other techniques also that have to be employed. But you guys are the ones they listen to. They don't listen to me. And yet I'm the one who they should be scared of. As there are those who do get upset, as I find out. I mean, the Mother's Day one I did today, thumbs down. That's how evil the Mormons are. So full of hate, so full of anger towards me. It's because they're scared that I'm right. And I am right. They should be scared. But there shouldn't be any fear in leaving the church. 11 million Mormons have already done it since the Gospel Topic Essays. So, you know, do the ad populum fallacy. Everybody's doing it. Alrighty, I'm at 33 minutes, which is the highest rank of the Scottish Rites Masonry, so I'll stop here.